Hello, Will and Catherine here. We went on a Caribbean cruise with P&O Cruises on Britannia for 14 nights. This video describes life on board during our holiday. I have separate videos for the embarkation and disembarkation process, the cabin review, and for the ports we visited. Our cabin was D721, a balcony cabin on deck 11 aft starboard side. It was comfortable, and for a full cabin review, see the separate video. One thing I will repeat here is that it was cold when we shut the balcony door to cut out the noise. It was not possible to switch off the air conditioning, and though I set the temperature to maximum red, it was still blowing cold air on my face during the night, which was a problem throughout the cruise. I reported it to our steward and to reception, but it was not resolved. For breakfast, we tried the main dining room once. If you love the white tablecloths and the waiter service, then you should enjoy breakfast in the main dining rooms. It's not for me though. I chose the standard full English breakfast, but it seemed to take a long time to come, by which time I had drunk my cup of tea, and it took a long time to get it refilled. I like to have a drink when I'm eating, so I did not enjoy the experience. So the rest of the time we had breakfast in the Buffet Horizon restaurant, indulging in several glasses of the excellent smoothies. In particular, we enjoyed eating outside at the back of the restaurant, in an area officially known as the Sunset Bar, one of the highlights of the cruise. It was such a pleasure to eat in the warmth of the open air, to be able to go and get exactly what you wanted whenever you wanted it and in whatever quantity you wanted. The Horizon restaurant was on deck 16. Usually my breakfast consisted of omelette or egg, bacon and sausage, followed by melon, mango, pineapple, dried bananas and flaked almonds, topped by yogurt and several mugs of tea or coffee. This is Widia. She greeted us each morning with a warm smile and chatted to us when she cleared away our dishes and made us feel valued. On sea days, there were an extensive range of activities. Here is the information for the first sea day. Use the pause button if you want to examine the detail. In particular, we liked the dance activities, and for entertainment, we enjoyed the cocktail pianist and the headliners theatre company. I had no trouble finding my way around the ship for these activities. There were maps in all the right places, which were very clear.
1, 2, 3, and that is the counting for that third one. Now,
this was Catherine participating in Footsteps, and David and Diane teaching us some sequence dances that we hadn't done before. The ballroom and Latin and sequence dances was another highlight of our holiday. On port days, we usually walked into town after breakfast, although there were 3 ports where we booked an excursion. See the separate videos for each port. After visiting the port, we would come back to the ship to have lunch in the Peninsula restaurant on deck 6 midship. This is a typical lunch menu, and I had the cod and scampi. Later in the cruise, there was a more traditional fish and chips offering, and also an Indian lunch. The food was okay. In the afternoon, we would read outside. On the first sea day, the decks were packed. We could not find 2 free lounges that were next to each other. Here we are around the adults-only Serenity Pool on deck 17 forward on a couple of port days, which were much better. There were signs everywhere asking people not to reserve lounges, but unfortunately this was generally ignored. Eventually we found this comfortable area on deck 17 aft, which became our favourite place to spend the afternoon. We could be in the sun if we wanted, and it also provided some shade when we needed it. At this point, I will bring up my second major complaint about the cruise. There was background music everywhere, all day, even at breakfast. I found this irritating because it was too loud. And enjoyment of music is a matter of personal preference. I hate that sound, which is just a tedious, repetitive beat with little melody or harmony. But even music one can tolerate shouldn't be too loud when many people are doing a variety of things, like reading or napping after lunch. Listen to this, for example. Don't get me wrong, I think Fatboy Slim is great, but in a late night dance venue, not in the afternoon, just after lunch. I'm just asking for a bit of choice. Most venues having this music, but some venues that don't. Sometimes we would go to the Crow's Nest on deck 16 forward, where the music was quieter. But the problem was that the air conditioning was too cold. Why? Did people complain they were hot? But they chose to go to a tropical climate. I paid a lot of money to escape the winter chill, and being cold was a big disappointment. At least the Crow's Nest wasn't as cold as Brodie's, the pub on deck 6. I went there when the Premier League games were being shown, but had to go back to the cabin the first time in order to get my winter clothes. Many people commented when they saw me in my jumper, saying that they were also cold, so it wasn't just me. For dinner, my favourite place to eat was the buffet because there was the view and you could have a look at the dishes before you chose them. Sometimes I would be spoilt for choice and have a little bit of everything. However, on celebration nights, because we wanted to wear our finest, we went somewhere else to eat. We tried Sindhu, which is one of the speciality restaurants on deck 7. Here's the menu. Use the pause button if you want the detail. The food was excellent and the ambience in Sindhu was superb. Highly recommended. We visited on the first of 4 celebration nights. We tried to go back a second time, but the restaurant was fully booked right to the end of the cruise, so get in early. We visited another speciality restaurant, the Glass House. The wine was very nice, but as you can see, it was also very expensive. We chose 6 of the tapas dishes. Catherine enjoyed it, but I wasn't too keen. The food was okay, but this was a speciality restaurant, and I didn't like the ambience. I felt like I was eating in a shopping centre corridor. These tables were in a better location, but I'm not sure how you would request such a table because it was booked using the virtual queue, and this was another area of frustration. Booking a table in the main restaurant for 6 p.m. seemed impossible. The dinner queues were always full. I tried earlier in the afternoon on successive days until the dinner queues had not yet appeared. Queue full every time. The reason this was important was our dance date events were sometimes at 7 p.m. and there was one celebration night when we didn't make it at all. So that was a dinner menu and I requested a steak. Well done.
Hey, what do you think George Michael's thing tonight? Tribute thing for...
So, if we had dinner in the buffet, there was no problem getting to our dance date event. We loved dancing ballroom and Latin and sequence dances in the evening. One of the highlights of the cruise. After the dancing, we would either go to the atrium or to the crow's nest to have a drink and to listen to the cocktail pianist. On one occasion, we went to the studio to watch a film. The title was It Ends With Us, starring Blake Lively. The Headliners Theatre Company performed 4 shows during the cruise, and these were excellent. So much energy and talent. Another highlight. Finishing the day in the crow's nest was a nice habit. The cocktail pianist entertaining us again. Such a relaxing place with a great ambience. So that was a summary of our 14-night Caribbean cruise with P&O Cruises on Britannia. Despite the irritations, the loud background music and the cold, I really enjoyed the holiday. If you don't add on the extras, it is very good value for money. I hope you found this video useful and interesting. Bye for now.